The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Good evening once again, everybody. I don't know, tech issues, tech's horrendous. Especially today, I've had a night full of it today. Anyway, Steve Collier is still with me in the studio. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Paul, again.
Again, welcome back. Do you want to go back over the old, what we covered already? I should just go straight back into it.
Go from where we say we left off.
Okay, we was talking about the TV and sitting in front of the TV for so long. And just to recap, that we decided that going back to the 1960s, that origin for the old wives' tale basically started because the TVs emitted over 100,000 times more radiation than the health officials considered safe. So there you go. That's sort of where he was going with that one. Then we'll move on to another old wives' tale about white wine removing red wine stains, or vice versa. Does white wine stain? I don't know.
I do not know. I don't drink wine, nor does Suze.
Well, I think you should get some wine just to test this theory, Steve. You don't have to drink it; just sprinkle it all over the carpet and. In the name of science, obviously. Suze will be about that.
I'll leave that one to you, Paul.
I can imagine now you'll sprinkle the red wine and then go, it's all right, I've got white wine, it's fine. Calm down, put that baseball bat down, missus.
Vanish will get it out.
Yeah, that's it. But, yeah, it says... In the research that I've done on this, it says, against their better judgment, even the cleaning experts have come to believe that this is widely circulated as a stain removal tip, which asserts that using white wine on a red wine stain will clear it right up, while rubbing alcohol does actually help in stain removal. Using and drinking it is a lot better, basically. So it helps a little bit, not too much. So we'll go with that, I think.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I don't know much about that one, so I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, well, yeah, as you don't drink wine, that's fine. How about eating carrots? You must have heard that one. Improves your eyesight.
Yes, I have heard about that one, and I can confirm that it does not work because I still trip over things in the dark.
Yeah, but is that more your eyesight or just clumsiness?
Because it's dark. It's dark.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, definitely. Everyone that knows you might disagree there, but okay, we'll go with that.
I can say that at the moment, okay, I've turned into a bit of a rabbit because I do like the carrots. I've been eating them a lot. And like I was saying before, I still managed to trip over a gravestone and miss it all on recording.
Yeah, that would have been quite funny. You could have sent that into the TV show and got yourself 250 quid for that.
I got left on YouTube and made £1 million for it.
Well, yeah, that would be so funny. Well, apparently, while carrots do contain nutrients like vitamin A that are beneficial for maintaining healthy eyes, they're not really considered. Um, they don't really do anything for the eyesight. So, yeah, there you go. Scientifically confirmed. Do what?
I said, I told you, it's just because it's dark.
Yeah, that's your excuse. You stick to that, mate.
I know that with your own, like with your eyesight and things like that, you do have a certain amount of night vision. Hence why that when you're outside in the dark and then suddenly you turn a light on and then you turn the light off, everything just goes pitch black again. Same reason for when you're in your room at night and you shut your door, you turn your lights off. After a while, your eyes adjust to the light that's around. And then when you turn the light back on, you're squinting and it really does blind you for a little while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, in the research, it says that carrots are rich in beta carotene, which is a rose red coloured pigment which helps produce vitamin A and is a key ingredient in healthy functioning eyes. But vitamin A is particularly useful for maintaining eye health and avoiding cataracts and slightly improving night vision. So you need to eat more carrots, Steve. Although it does say don't go overboard too much because vitamin A can produce negative side effects. So eat a few carrots and so not a few pounds of carrots, just a few. So it helps a tiny bit, but eat too many and you're knackering yourself out. Yeah. But apparently the root Penny would like this, I would have thought. Originally, the rumour took hold when Royal Air Force fighters ace John Cunningham became the first person to shoot down an enemy plane using an automatic targeting system, and it was in the dead of night. Officials ferociously credited the pilot success by eating carrots in order to fool the Germans. Lately, the carrot eyesight link further gained validity in the public eye when sugar supplies became scarce, and the British Ministry of Food made a push for more vegetables. So basically, that's sort of where they went with that. Eat your carrots, shoot down Germans. Easy link to make, isn't it, really?
Yeah, we just don't talk about that just now. We don't want to start off another war, do we?
Don't mention the war. Yeah. Oh dear. Again, another one that I came across, and I always used to get this when I was a kid. An apple a day keeps a doctor away.
Or you could just do what Mary Poppins does, and a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Not if you're diabetic.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're having a hypo, then it's fine. Sugar's good for you. But when you're having a hypo, no, it's no good. You need more insulin then. So,
Paul, just out of interest, with regards to the looking at the old wives' tales, what ones surround things like the paranormal and things like that? Is there many out there that surround the paranormal?
It depends on the way you look at it. Right? There are some, for example, more superstitions than anything. Like, for example, apparently if you're pregnant and you eat bananas, you're going to have a boy. It'll get you a boy. But although it's not guaranteed, it does increase your chances because bananas apparently are known to have higher dosage of potassium, which is a key to conceiving baby boys. And it's been found in a study that a banana diet increased the chance of having a boy by 56%, and the other 45 had girls. So statistically, it works, but it's still not guaranteed. But there's if you eat bananas and you say, "Oh, you're gonna have a boy," you've got more chance of having a boy than a girl.
Ooh,
So it's gonna be right either way, really. I suppose.
Well, I suppose
It's an interesting one.
There is a 50-50 chance.
Exactly. I mean, you've got like full moon, for example. Full moon can affect people's behaviours, and apparently that's true. But then several studies have proved that incidents of crime and emergency room admissions and surgical mistakes and other unusual events are higher when there's a full moon. Now, I sort of attribute that to the fact that the moon's got a gravitational pull as well as the Earth has, and it affects the tides and the water. And the human body is made up of 80% water, I think, something like that. Yeah. So it's bound to have some sort of an effect on us. Whether or not it makes us more accident prone, I don't know.
So, obviously, now, just out of interest, the old superstition with, there's quite a big one, and that is the moon. Like you were talking about the moon, and the power of the moon. Now, the police usually say, the police, the fire, the ambulance, security, carers, whoever you are, usually find that people react more differently when the moon is full, at its biggest. Now, is that a superstition, or is that just people seeing the moon and that's changing their perception in that? Do you reckon it also has...
I don't know. I don't think people actually go out there physically and go, "Oh, look, full moon, I'm going to go mental tonight." I don't think people do that. But I know from experience working on the ambulances and stuff that yes, it does have an effect. If there's a full moon, you're going to be busier that night than any other. Yeah. And again, I just put that down to the fact that because we're made up of 80% water, the moon's gravitational pull has an effect on us just as much as it does the tides. So whether it creates an imbalance somewhere, maybe in the brain or the body somewhere, it just makes us more accident prone. That's why more accidents and incidents happen that night. Could it also affect moods as well? I think it could.
Do you reckon it could also impact the results on a paranormal investigation?
It could indeed, absolutely. I mean, we're always talking about energies and stuff on an investigation, and yeah, I mean, it can have an effect. Sometimes people go into an investigation and they've got one particular mindset, but then if you're on an investigation, there's a full moon, your mindset might be slightly different or off or imbalanced in some way, so it could have an effect on the outcome of what you're potentially getting as evidence. Anything. So again, that does make quite perfect sense. Well, to me anyway. Yeah. So there you go.
It certainly is interesting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it does open up loads of ideas, and potential experiment ideas as well. And you, I mean, for you, every investigation, you could say there's a full moon because the amount of times you fall over rabbit holes and things. That's why you need the tea lights out, just to mark everything that's dangerous. Oh dear, word to be too long, Steve. Let's see what else we've got. We have quite a few medical ones, actually.
Medical ones?
Yeah, we got some medical. Let's just scroll down and find some good ones. All right, feed a cold, starve a fever. Nice medical one there. And again, according to Scientific America, This is an old wives' tale that dates back to the 1500s, having cited a dictionary that noted that feeding is a great remedy of fever. And since then, the common thinking has been eating food will help generate warmth when you have a cold, and avoiding food may help your body cool down when you have a fever. Hence, the phrase "feed a cold, starve a fever." It's pretty much rubbish. If you've got a cold or a fever, you still need to eat. Just take cold paracetamol for the fever, because that's what it's designed for, to take down temperatures. And you still need to keep your strength up, so you just eat something light every now and again. So yeah, that's a load of rubbish. So anyone says that to you, then no, heard it here first. Oh dear. Yeah, there's just so many. Another good one, right? Jellyfish stings. Do you know what the treatment for that is, Steve?
You wee on someone.
You would think that, wouldn't you? Absolutely, yeah. That's sort of the common myth to it, to be fair. And that is basically down to a film and an episode of Friends, apparently. But in fact, you could actually make the sting worse. Most cases of jellyfish stings end up with a tentacle or two attached to the victim's body, and in certain chemical interactions can actually cause detached tentacles to sting the victim all over again. And your urine doesn't have enough ammonia and chemical compounds to break that down, so it doesn't actually have any effect whatsoever.
Well, I think I'm not really one for a fetish for people peeing on me, but I think maybe if I do get a jellyfish sting, I think I will let them try that.
Well, whatever floats your boat, mate. To be fair, I just think it's just made up for some sadistic person. It's like, oh, you're hurt, I'm going to pee on you now just for a laugh. Add insult to injury.
And then you've got to be glad that someone didn't think about trying the other end.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd be like, no, you're all right.
Because I've been recording and selling for money.
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't even go there. I did actually find one for Jo as well, actually. Jo said the other night that she had sunburn. And
right.
Apparently eating tomatoes help prevent sunburn. So she needs to eat more tomatoes.
Well, I have found that when people... One of my lovely little thing that I like doing is when someone has a sunburn, is slapping the sunburn, because it takes the pain away from the sunburn for a minute, and it...
It could also get you a broken nose, I think. If anyone done that to me...
You can run fast, but you should be able to do it.
Yeah, I think you'd need to run pretty fast if you slap me with sunburn. Oh dear, yeah. Just don't let me catch you for the rest of the day, I think, would be the gist of the day. Oh dear. Right, okay, so let's go on to... we've done the eating of the tomato. Spicy food can cause stomach ulcers. That's another one that gets bandied around a bit, but apparently this is a medical myth. Although there's no evidence to prove that spicy food actually causes stomach ulcers, it can make symptoms worse. So if you've already got it, it's going to make it a little bit worse. And that's just basically because the bacteria in the spicy food and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do know with spicy food, the old myths and things like that. It depends on how your body reacts to them, is depending on whether the myth becomes true or not.
Yeah, I mean, with the medical ones, I mean, I've got a basic grasp on those anyway. But there are some really strange, weird and wacky ones. I mean, even like the whole lightning and turning the milk sour. I mean, I'd never heard of that until I read it in a book, and it's like, really? Does that really happen? But then looking into it, it's like, well, actually, yeah, it did, but doesn't anymore. So it's just about finding the origins for these myths and the old wives' tales.
What other myths have you got then? Myths and legends or superstitions have you got?
I've got loads. Another one that I haven't actually got written down, but there's quite a few stories about how this sort of come about. But witches riding broomsticks. There's lots of different theories, and I still think the funniest theory that I've heard is the cure for thrush. Apparently, they'd put some sort of soothing cream on the broomstick, and then they'd sit on the broomstick to like cool things down a bit.
Oh dear!
And that was sort of apparently quite a witchy problem. Apparently, so that's how they got the stigma that witches ride brooms. I mean, I very much doubt that's accurate. But it's just one of the theories that sort of stuck in mind because it was just so amusing. I'm sure if Kerry was on, or maybe even Penny, she'd be able to tell us a few more. But it's just so funny. Whenever you're ill, I don't know about you in particular, but my mum always used to do chicken soup and give that as like a medicine type of thing. They're like, have some chicken soup, it make you feel better. But on looking into this, it is actually considered an anti-inflammatory. So whatever goodness comes out of the vegetables and the chicken and stuff, it can reduce inflammation by slowing down the white blood cells and activity responsible for causing the inflammation. So it works. So there you go. If you need anti-inflammatories for whatever reason, just a can of chicken soup will do you just as well.
Or just a doctor's appointment.
Well, that's it. But then these days, you phone for an appointment and it's like 4 weeks later. It's just easier just to go down to Tesco's and buy your chicken soup and then get your appointment 4 weeks later. But by then you'll be cured because of the chicken soup.
Certainly, yes.
If you've ever had trouble getting to sleep, counting sheep is another one.
It doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me either because, it's like...
You find that, like, obviously, with sleeping problems, with regards to superstitions and that, I think the count of sheep ones don't really work. I don't think I found any of them that work really. All those ones that help you sleep.
No, I mean it does state in again some of the research pages that I went through because I spent like 4 or 5 hours doing all this, all these notes earlier, and they did say that while there hasn't been any specific scientific study proving that counting sheep actually works, it can, and by the use of visualization or mental imagery can certainly assist in the land of Nod. So basically, yeah, it almost like distracts you from. I mean, we all lay there and think about bills and what we're doing tomorrow and lists of what we got to do later. Do you know what I mean? We're always busy, and when you're laying there and your mind's racing, then it's almost like just something to take your mind off of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it works. But I actually find that meditation helps me better. I'll go onto YouTube or Spotify or something and find something nice and relaxing to listen to. Because there's lots of things that I listen to, like for example waterfalls. The meadow sounds, so you get like the insects and the gentle breeze blowing through and stuff like that, and that sort of helps me relax enough to drift off to sleep.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, she actually listens to Stephen Fry doing these audiobooks, and she says Stephen Fry's voice is so soothing that it puts her to sleep.
See, what really gets me to sleep is, if I'm having trouble, is I usually take amitriptyline. So.
I'm just Zopiclone. Sleeping tablets. Yeah, but that's sort of cheating anyway, so that doesn't count. Oh dear. So yeah, I mean there are lots of different wives' tales out there that you can. So I mean, catching a cold, right? This one always bugs me with my mum in particular, because she'd be like, if you go outside and you've got wet hair, you're going to catch a cold. And I'm like, no, you can't catch colds like this. It's scientifically proven that it's a virus and you can't catch colds because you're going out with wet hair. That's just stupid. And then obviously she backs down because she can't argue with science. So, yeah. It's always one that gets me. I mean, yeah. I think even my nan used to come out with that one. And that sort of, it's almost like Chinese whispers, just passed down by mothers over the generations. And okay, sometimes it's plausible, like for example the lightning. I know I keep going back to that, but that one is true. But it would have been true, 90, 100 years ago. Yeah, not so much now. So it's interesting what we. How we interpret these things now, and some of them are defunct, so we can discount most of them. So yeah, that's about it for the show tonight.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, because I know we had a bit of technical issue, and we started we started on time, but had a 2-minute break in between.
2 minutes.
Well, it was a long 2 minutes. What can I say? But we do. I do have to sort of run through some of the shows that we got coming up this week. So tomorrow night we have the Haunted History Show, and Penny is going to be discussing the Eastern State Penitentiary. She's got a guest on, but I'm not sure who that guest is. I think it might be Aaron Sagers. Just a hint there. Then we're followed on Thursday by Parasearch Radio. They're talking about UK Haunted Life, so that should be quite an interesting show. And on the Mental Dark Mirror show on Friday night, they are discussing cattle mutilations. I actually like that subject. I might be in the chat room for that one.
Cattle mutilation.
Cattle mutilations, yeah.
They more commonly known as the butchers, then.
Indeed. I mean, I think because it's the Dark Mirror show, they're going to be taking the alien conspiracy that it's aliens coming down and mutilating cattle and then leaving them for dead. But I mean, that's sort of where they're going probably with that show. But then I would take the cryptozoology route with the chupacabra and things like that, because that's attached to the mutilation. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll take that approach as well. And next week on the Paranormal Concept Show, I'm going to actually be doing a David Farrant tribute show. So I'm going to do a little speech at the beginning of the show, and then I'm going to play out an interview that we had with David Farrant, all about the occult and stuff. That guy's amazing, and sadly passed away a few weeks ago. So I thought that'd be quite a fitting tribute to David Farrant. So we're going to do that next week. Yeah. So that's it for tonight. So I want to thank Steve for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
No problem.
If you're ever free on a Tuesday night and you fancy coming into a show, just having your say, and you're more than welcome to, mate. No problem.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining us in the chat room. So it's a good night from me and Steve.
Good night. See you later.
Thank you for listening.
Good night,
Don't
everybody.
forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.